Oh hi, didn't see you there. A brief outline of the approach. Between the years of 1931 and 1936, Artaud had developed an experimental form of theatre known as the Theatre of Cruelty. The Theatre of Cruelty is the version of traditional Western theatre norms, as unlike modern theatre, Artaud aimed to shock his audience by inflicting an assault on the senses through image, sound, lighting, and gesture. Artaud was also against the ideas of character, language, drama, and plot akin to his anti-naturalistic style. He was admitted to multiple sanitariums over the span of 5 years, only ending because he was conscripted into the French army because of World War I. Except he was discharged because of an unspecified health reason. He was a big fan of opium and dabbled in the occasional peyote. And the time he went to Ireland, he returned to France in a straitjacket.
He described his intentions as to create a new theatrical language of totem and gesture, a language of space devoid of dialogue that would appeal to all the senses. Artaud wanted to abolish the stage and auditorium and do away with sets and props and masks. He envisioned the performance space as an empty room with the audience sealed in the centers and the actors performing all around them.
The Theatre of Cruelty aimed to shock audiences through gesture, image, sound, and lighting. Artaud's theatre rejected naturalism, and with this followed the abstract use of audience seating, costume, and lighting.
From the highlighted bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Through his techniques, he created the form of alienation in theatre when he just distanced the audience from the performer. Artaud made sure that the audience recognized the performer as separate from the performance. This allows the audience to be critical of the performance rather than the emotionally connected, which can lead to an inaccurate bias in opinion. Artaud's form of theatre was absurd and shocking. He opened his audience's eyes how bizarre and violent reality actually is. During his theme, he coincidingly also created a hallucinogenic effect that entrances his audience in a certain fear. Artaud envisioned his theatre with an audience seated in the center, helpless with the play happening around them.
Maybe like do a little dancey dance. Yeah. Maybe you could like strip naked and run and commit arson. That's probably right. Yeah, I think so.
Antoine Artaud's emo-ass was born in France 1896, and he died in 1948, which means that it was a world war going on for 10 of the 52 years he was alive. And it wouldn't be a stretch to say that living through these events probably explained why his work was so weird. After all, the aftermath of World War I also led to the rise of surrealists and their unending wait for Godot and such. Not that they liked Artaud because of his unwillingness to be political, him receiving funding from the bourgeoisie, and disliking Freud or something. I'm assaulting the
Artaud made it his mission to assault the senses of his audience.
You know what, I'm just going to do one sentence. Artaud made it his mission to assault the senses of his audience.
I don't know what this is.
Artaud made it.
The Theatre of Cruelty is a mix of music, dance, and pantomime, assaulting the senses through sound, sight, and etc. Some techniques of the Theatre of Cruelty can be called speaking, stylized movement, or spoken poetry. The actor-audience relationship was intimate, and the audience was fully immersed in the spectacle. The audience was often placed at the center of the performance, with actors performing around them. The performers expressed extreme emotion through facial expression, movement, nonverbal sound, and unfinished sentences. Actors played less defined roles rather than characters. Performances included gestures, dancing, and chanting. Ritualistic movement and visual poetry replaced written dialogue. Sets were rejected, but exaggerated puppets and costumes and masks were used. Intense lighting and piercing sound assaulted the audience's senses. These elements of production were used to create a spectacle and immerse the audience in a surreal world.
Artaud wants his actors to use lots of raw emotion. This is called athletes of the heart. Here's some examples of how Artaud Is this assaulting your senses?
And another example of assaulting the senses is
And costumes and masks were used. Intense lighting and piercing sound assaulted the audience's senses.